Alright, we're just gonna start talking, man. Just rock and roll with this thing. Get nice and comfortable. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome in. This is the first episode of From the Bench to the Mic. I'm your host, Jonathan Holmes. Very excited to get this show, podcast, whatever we want to call it, off the ground and going. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Something a little bit different that I didn't. I've always been wanting to do, and it's been one of those things I've kind of just put on the back burner for quite some time now. But we're finally getting around to it now that college hoops is around, and yeah, it will give us something to talk about throughout the season and into the off season, and hopefully for many seasons to come. So I think there's going to be a ton of great things to talk through this college basketball season, and what better way to share my thoughts than to the public and get people's feedback and continue to learn from episode 1 to Lord knows how many episodes from now. So yeah, let me just give a quick introduction of myself. Again, my name is Jonathan Holmes. I'm from a small town in Columbia, Illinois, about 25 minutes east of St. Louis, and I came down to the University of Arkansas to play college hoops. I come from again a small town of about 10,000-ish people, high school of about 500, and people from Columbia and Southern Illinois don't typically get the opportunity to go play Division I hoops, and it was one of those things that you just I had to work my tail off for, and had to go make the opportunity myself, and it's truly been a blessing, that's for sure. God's been so good and helping me along the way, and I've just been very fortunate to have some cards fall in the right spots for me, and be able to take advantage of those when the opportunity presented itself. So I loved sports growing up, loved talking through with my friends, and I fell in love with basketball when I was a junior in high school. So I was really late in the process, but yeah, it was one of those things that I found out you could be a little bit physical in hoops, and football was my favorite sport growing up, but when I found out you could be a little physical in hoops, that was when I really fell in love with it and wanted to take off and run with it. So yeah, and then the rest is history. I mean, I didn't get recruited very high. I was a 0-star recruit, some would say. Again, coming from a small town, it's so difficult. I'm not saying any excuses, it's just so difficult to get that publicity and those rankings and all this stuff. And granted, I'm not saying that I was the greatest. No, definitely wasn't. I was a 5'10 guard, 5'10 shooting guard, playing in the Kokia Conference, which, I mean, no disrespect, it's not the greatest hoops in the world, but it's one of those things where you have to really, really ball out to get college notice in Columbia, and I just didn't ever really get to that. But there was a point in my senior season where we went up against some Division I guys that were going to play at high major schools, and they just, it was a great test to show where all of the hard work in the summer where that had been paid off. And there was a tournament that we ended up going into, and granted we didn't win any of them, but we got some incredible exposure, and it was just such a cool opportunity to go against those guys and just really reassure myself that I could go play at the highest level and do it effectively. So yeah, I had to send some film out. I mean, huge shout out to my high school coach to help out with that process and getting the film together and sending it out to just so many Division I schools, and finally hearing back from Arkansas saying, hey, we've got an open tryout, why don't you come on down? And I don't know anything about the state of Arkansas or Razorback. I mean, the history behind it, I had no idea. I knew who Coach Anderson was from just growing up, watching him at Mizzou. I was a big Illinois fan growing up, so we'd go to the Illinois-Mizzou, the bragging rights game in St. Louis, and yeah, I get to see him. And so I knew of him. I didn't know him personally, of course, but I was like, all right, that would be. I heard back from Arkansas. I'm gonna go. Let's roll the dice. There was a lot of praying and a lot of thought that had to go into this, and I just always remember my mom telling me, don't pick a school based on basketball. And she definitely was probably referring to the smaller schools, but Arkansas was strictly picked on with basketball, and to come down here and pursue a dream. So it's been, and I'm so glad I did it. I wouldn't do it any other way, even without the playing time and the stardom and all that stuff. I do it 10 out of 10 times because of all the extra connections that I'd made. My friends now, I mean, just some of the greatest people I've ever met, and the connection I've got with my teammates and all of this, all of the great stuff that came along with it. So wouldn't change it for the world. So that's a brief background about myself, and now we're getting into the podcast game. I've had a lot of people tell me that I probably shouldn't do it. There's so many out there, but hey, why not? Let's just try it out, and hopefully I'm able to share some different experiences that I had in college as we go throughout this season, and just share some of my knowledge on the game and what I've learned throughout college and through high school, and when I was coaching out of college. So be able to present that to y'all and be able to hopefully you guys learn a couple things from me, and we'll see where this thing goes. So we're gonna dive right on into it. There's a lot of great stuff to talk through tonight. I've got Arizona and Florida on right now, and it's a great back and forth, very up-tempo battle. I mean, the pace has just been crazy. I mean, it's these are gonna be two really good teams. Of course, Florida being a defending national champ, got a huge target on their back, but Arizona's got a lot of talent too. I mean, Koa Pete has just been an absolute dog for him right now. So, but anyways, we'll dive right into it. I've got a preview of the Big Ten. I'm gonna have a preview of SEC coming later as we get into some more content here. I want to talk through the top 10, just my thoughts on the preseason top 10, and what I expect from each team, and then want to be able to give you guys my All-American team, and we're gonna talk. And we're gonna talk through some mid majors too. There's some mid majors out there that don't get a lot of love, especially in the preseason, but we're gonna keep an eye on a lot of these teams as we get closer to tournament time, and we're gonna go dive into some of these teams and who I think is gonna make an impact, one, throughout the season, two, come March Madness. So here we go. That was pretty good. Money in the bank, dog. Let's freaking go, kid. Let's go, kid. How quiet is this? All right, hey, we're gonna dive right into it. Let's get into this top 10 breakdown. The preseason top 10. I love it. Yes, don't get me wrong. I think it's great having the preseason rankings and talking through it, but there's so much change that goes on in college hoops. It's definitely not like what it was 5 years ago, as everybody knows. The transfer portal, has just completely changed college basketball. NIL, yes, totally has, and I'm sure I'll be talking about that throughout the year. But the portal, I mean, it's so difficult to get a grip on some of these teams just because you don't know how these teams are going to mesh together. I'm a huge believer in having a core. I think you need to have a core of people that, one, have been through the program for at least a year, and two, they've played. I think they've played significant minutes with one another. I think that goes a long way, especially when you are trying to bank on the portal to really complete your team. Freshmen, we saw Cal do it with Kentucky, have the freshman lineups and be able to have success there. I mean, freshmen are definitely important. They add the depth. You're gonna have your 1%ers that are gonna make incredible impact. Cooper Flag last year, of course. And I think there's a lot of great freshmen that are out there right now. AJ DeBanza, Koa Pete, who I'm watching right now. I mean, there's some electric freshmen that are out there, and it's gonna be fun to see these guys come to throughout the season and really develop themselves as players. So going through the top 10 here, we're gonna start out with number 10, Texas Tech. This is a team that I got to watch last year in the tournament. Just flew around. They played off the crowd's energy. They had a lot of villains, quote, on their team. I mean, Darian Williams was phenomenal. Them losing him to the portal is gonna hurt them. He was their leader. He almost was kind of like Draymond Green, shoot a little bit better, but he just did everything for him. Brought the ball up. He guarded the best guy. He made timely shots. He moved the ball. It was great. Dude put on a masterclass against Drake. Bennett Sturts, that team. I'll dive into them later on, but but talking through Texas Tech, it's JT Toppin's show, in my opinion. I think he's gonna have to take the next step and really perform. Dang near the Big 12 Player of the Year. He's one of those guys that kind of played that submissive role behind Darian Williams, and now I think he's going to be absorbing all the spotlight. Kid can rebound. He's super athletic. He can space the floor. He pushed the tempo as a big. Those are all just extremely important factors when you need to be building around a guy. So I think they've hit. I think they hit gold in the transfer portal. Donovan Atwell, he's a transfer from UNC Greensboro. He's a senior, so he's a vet. You bring him in, he averaged about 13 a game. He knows the ropes of college hoops. I think that's very important when you're looking in the transfer portal and getting guys that have experience, and they have experience. I'm gonna say this correctly. They have experience, but you're not bringing them in to be your one, especially in year one. I think it's very rare to see that. It's very rare to see that happen. I'm trying to think of who would even be a transfer that was a one last year and to be in year one and took him to a Final Four. I mean, I'm thinking like Florida. Will Richard was already there he was there a year already. Elijah Martin was a beast from FAU. I mean, there were some dudes out there, but they were all in year two. But Donovan Atwell is going to be a stud for him. I think him and JT Toppin are going to be a dynamic duo in the Big 12. They're going to be very tough to stop. Look for them to push with pace. I think their depth. They had a deep team last year. I think they're going to have another deep team this year. Excited to see the Red Raiders and what they do in the Big 12, and not to mention their coach. McCasland is freaking awesome. The dude's got a 718 win percentage. I mean, he's a Big 12 guy. He played at Baylor, former director of operations. I mean, he's got a lot of experience in the Big 12, so he knows that conference. He knows ball. I mean, the dude's a beast. One of my good buddies, family friends with him, and he's family friends of a guy that's on the coaching staff, and they said the guy's a top-notch dude. So Really rooting for these guys. I think they're going to be very, very respectable this year. So, going into number 9, University of Kentucky Wildcats. SEC, this team holds near and dear in my heart. The amount of memories that we were able to have at Rupp and playing them in the SEC championship, having them come into Fayetteville. Just some incredible experiences with the squad. So it's always fun seeing Kentucky's name on here. You love seeing them good. It's good for college hoops. They've got a lot of talent. Mark Pope is a real deal. He really cares about the program, and I think he was the perfect fit for after Cal. I think that was a win-win for Kentucky, moving away from Cal and bringing in Mark Pope some new life. I think he's going to be really good for them for a long time. To diving into some of their players, I mean, Otiga Owe, I think he's projected to be the preseason player of the year. Rock star, dude came from OU last year, just balled out. I think he's ready to really take Kentucky, the program, back to a Final Four or, a national championship. I think they have enough talent to do it. You bring in a guy like Denzel Aberdeen from a national champion in Florida last year, which I'm just thinking, like, man, you leave a national champion to go to a place like Kentucky. Great history there. Big brand name. Florida, we all know. Yes, they're 3-time national champion, but when you think Florida, you think college football. When you hear Kentucky, you think college hoops. So, yeah, you leave Florida, you come to Kentucky, hopefully pursuing the same thing. Obviously, NIL was probably involved. And you're gonna start take the program by the horns and let's roll. It's gonna be a great backcourt between those two. Not to mention Richie Saunders. He's at BYU. I'm tripping. Never mind. But Jaden Quaintance from Arizona State, big man, 6'11" dude. He was a 5-star in high school. Dude was incredible. And that addition to Kentucky's front court's gonna be huge for him. A guy that can really clean the glass up. Needs to stay out of foul trouble. That's always the big thing with bigs. You got to be able to stay out of foul trouble. But he's got that experience under his belt. He's coming in. He's not going to be the number 1 guy. I think Arizona State was really trying to use him to be their number 1. And granted, being a 5-star, you think he could be a number 1, but college basketball is it's a whole different ball game from high school. It's just way different. And to see him take this step and leave Arizona and Arizona State from being the guy to a role. He's going to be a supplemental role guy to Owe and Aberdeen, but it's going to be cool to see. So yeah, really excited for Kentucky. I think they're going to be top probably 3 in the SEC, maybe 4 up there with the Floridas and the Arkansas and the I think Tennessee's going to be really good again. Alabama, Auburn even without Bruce Pearl gonna be incredible. But Kentucky, I think Kentucky's one of those teams that can make a real run now. Mark Pope's really establishing himself, and they've got a lot of talent on that squad. All right, number 8, BYU. This team, 4th most returning scoring in the country. And you add the number 1 player in the country in AJ DeBanza. This is my team to win the Big 12. Texas Tech, I definitely think, gives them a run for the money. It's probably the most popular pick, but I'm taking BYU here at the Big 12. AJ DeBanza, we can talk to him. We could talk about him for an hour, but the kid just explodes on the court. His pace, the way he gets up and down the floor, that's going to be, he's going to blend in with the college game, I think, no problem. He'll be projected lottery guy. Whether he goes number 1, we'll see. But he looks comfortable in their exhibition game against North Carolina that I watched. He looked comfortable. He was doing his thing. He was able to hang with the big bodies. The guy, he's got seems like a good head on his shoulders. But BYU, this is where Richie Saunders is going to come in now. Richie Saunders, Rob Wright, they're going to be, that's a very good big three right there. Very good. And you got Kennard Davis from Carbondale. He's a St. Louis guy, represent. Kennard Davis, Richie Saunders, AJ DeBanza, Rob Wright. Look out for BYU. That's my pick to win Big 12. Just watch out. All right, number 7, Big 10, Michigan, the Wolverines, Dusty May. This guy, Dusty May, love the dude. I mean, did a great job, excellent job at FAU with John L. Davis, Elijah Martin. That squad, I mean, took him to a Final Four. The way they lost in the Final Four, I thought that they could have won the national championship with how much talent they had. But he gets a job at Michigan. He turns them around from, I believe they were 8-20 plus losses to Sweet 16 team next year. They over their two exhibition games, they ordered 97. They scored over 97 points, just explosive offensively. And he gave up a lot of points now. I mean, 97, 95, I believe, when they played Carolina. So, no, it wasn't Carolina. I'm sorry. I believe when they played St. John's, gave up 95. Okay? That's a lot of points. It's an exhibition, but, it is what it is. Hey, their backcourt, their front court, Yaxel Landerberg and Morez Johnson transferred from UAB and Illinois. These guys, that's Twin Towers right there. Morez Johnson, watching him as a freshman, he's raw. This guy's raw. I know he's probably been working in the offseason. Saw him when he played at Chicago Thornton. I mean, he just dominated the high school game, of course. Went to Illinois, became a role guy. But when he was in there, if he stayed out of foul trouble, I mean, he can be a double-double guy, easy. I mean, he's got an NBA body. He's got to work on his outside J. But underneath, man, the dude just is a second chance point machine. I think he can be a double-double dude. He's going to be great for Michigan off the bench. NBA is probably a couple years from now for him. Gets developed that outside J. He'll be all right. Yaxel Landerberg. Some people are picking this kid to be Big Ten Player of the Year, up there with Braden Smith. Now, I haven't done a ton of research on him. Just going to be honest. Haven't done a ton of research. But everything that I've seen, this guy can be the man in the middle, monster in the middle, and an absolute game wrecker for the Wolverines. That's my expectation. I'm hoping he lives up to the hype. It's great when we see Michigan good at hoops. I remember the Trey Burke days, the Tim Hardaway Jr. days. Those are so fun, man. Those bright Volt jerseys. They don't have those no more, but it's good to see Michigan back. 6, Duke. Being an Arkansas alum, I'm not ashamed. This is my squad. Been a ride or die Duke since I was a kid. They were the team that helped me fall in love with the game. John Shire. I mean, I always wanted his jersey growing up. Seeing him playing that national championship with Nolan Smith, Brian Zubek, Kyle Singler. This guy just bleeds Duke blue. Bleeds it. It's incredible what he's done and how he's been able to take over for just a legendary coach, of course, in Coach K. And he's just been an absolute rock star in his role, bringing in just 5-star after 5-star after 5-star. And I think he does an excellent job in the transfer portal. Again, he's not going after ones in the transfer portal. He's getting guys that are fitting his system, fitting his team, fitting his groove. Just roll guys, looking to come to Duke and help make an impact. Sion James, perfect example. Came from Tulane 2 years ago for last year. Came to Duke. absolute role guy, and he just excelled like crazy. You know, you can build around your talent and your freshmen, or if you've got guys sitting around, but the portal is meant to complete your team. You're not looking to build around in the portal, in my opinion. I'll die on that hill. But Duke, the Boozer twins, just loaded up. They've got a few more 5-stars in there. Darren Harris, I think he's going to be a guy that takes the next step. I'm waiting on Caleb Foster to take over that to be a point guard, be the number 1 point guard for him, take over games. He's got it in him. I know he does. I've seen spurts of it, watching Duke, watching him. Caleb Foster is a guy that he's going to be the X factor for Duke all year. He's an upperclassman. He's got the experience. He's rode the pine. He's played in big games. He's played in the tournament. I'm waiting on Caleb Foster to really take that step. I think he will. I'm still a believer. Still a believer in Caleb Foster, man. So I hope he goes out and he can make us proud. All right, number 5, St. John's. Watching them while I was eating dinner tonight. Playing against Quinnipiac. Most likely it's a hockey school. But St. John's flying around. I mean, I blinked and they had 30 points. It was unbelievable how their pace of play was. Patino, he is just the most New York guy on earth. If that St. John's position is perfect for him. I mean, with the slick back hair, the suit, he just got it, man. He just screams New York. He's in a great spot at St. John's. He's got them ranked in the top 5 preseason. I think that the Big East outside of UConn and Creighton probably not going to be great. So I'm excited to see what St. John's brings to the table this year. They've hit really well in the transfer portal again. They've done well there. They've got some 5-stars that they're building around. They're going to be an exciting team for this upcoming year. So, St. John's Red Storm, baby. Get into the top 4. We got UConn. Dan Hurley, I think he's reloaded this year. Last year was a down year for him, and they still won 20-plus games. They're going for the back-to-back. Man, back-to-back's hard. It's hard to do. I'm trying to think. Like if we had gone to a national championship and won it, I'd be on cloud 9 for the rest of my life. I think that's so difficult to get your guys back up and motivated again. I mean, when you lose a guy like Cam Spencer, that is just so lethal to the leadership of your squad. It's hard to go back-to-back. Caravan doesn't seem to be wanting that leadership role. I see Solo Ball taking a bigger step this year. He's a dog for him. They flew around in their exhibition game. Briefly watched. They played well. UConn to me is scary. I know they're in the top 4. They're scary to me about maybe potentially going back to getting another national championship. I think Dan Hurley's got a fire lit underneath them this year, and they're really gonna prove that UConn is still a premier program in the country. Their defense wasn't great last year. I think another reason why they couldn't accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. Their defense wasn't great. They were 75th in KenPom. That doesn't strike me as a Dan Hurley stat that he would enjoy hearing or seeing. So I imagine that gets fixed this year. Don't be surprised if they're in the top 20, 25 of KenPom in defense. I also forgot, man. They're also missing Braylon Mullins, their 5-star. One of the recruits that came in, he should be out. I think he's going to be out about 6-ish weeks. Lower body injury, I believe it's his foot. But when he gets back, it should be plug and play, I would imagine. Dan Hurley seems to have a system where you can plug and play guys and not necessarily just have to be building around one specific dude. Okay, now Florida. The Florida Gators, baby. Again, just what I alluded to with going back to back. This is so difficult to do. So difficult. They had roster turnover. You're losing Will Richard. You lost Elijah Martin. You lost dude that's at dude's on Golden State now. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. You lose your 3 best guards to the NBA, rightfully so. Dogs, absolute dogs. You bring in Boogie Flan from Arkansas. Dog, when he wasn't hurt, so good. Flew around, he plays defense, he can shoot the rock, confident with the ball. He's a playmaker. You bring in Xavier Lee from Princeton. Playmaker, excellent ball handler. He can shoot the ball pretty well. Got them all right now. They look Florida's going to be another team. I mean, they're going to be a team to reckon with all year again. Again, it's early, but some mistakes are going to happen. But they've looked pretty decent so far. Arizona as well. I'm surprised with Arizona so far. But yeah, the second half about to kick off. All right, here we go. We're rocking. But that backcourt, Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan, they have the chance to be probably the top 2, top 3 backcourts in the country. And Boogie Flan, he's just a playmaker, man. Just made a play for him. Nice little kick out to the corner. So Florida going back to back, I think it's going to be it's a tall task. I'm not saying they can't. It's going to be a tall task. But you get those 2 guards going, man. They can be tough to stop. And you got your Thomas Howell, Alex Condon, your anchors down low, your twin towers. You got guys that they're building around. That's another thing. They're building around their dudes. They didn't bring in Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan to be Elijah Martin and Will Richard. They didn't bring him in to be like that. Walter Clayton. I'm tripping. Walter Clayton's the guy's name. Man, how did I forget him, dude? Walter Clayton. They didn't bring him in to be Walter Clayton or Elijah Martin. Came in to be Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan. Okay? Go in, do their thing. They're going to be just fine. Todd Golden is a stud. Big fan of his game. Big fan of him as coach. So I think they're going to be good. They're going to be really, really good. Houston, number 2. Tough. These boys are tough. 5th most returning and scoring. You got Kelvin Sampson, who is just got this just suffocating culture on defense. I feel bad for teams when they go up against Houston, when you just have to put up with that for 40 minutes, 40 plus minutes sometimes. It's just so tiring. These guys are going to be the best team. They're going to be the most in-shape team in the country. They always do. They rebound like madmen. All of them do. They're always tall. They're always long. They're always in your grill. So the only question I really got is their depth. I think their depth, if they can get some of these role guys off the bench to come to fruition. Houston, they were right there for a national championship last year. They're very easily going to find themselves back in that same situation. Even though we all know Duke should have won that game in the Final Four. We all know they should have won, but Houston, man, let's keep an eye out for them. I mean, they're going to be on everybody's top 5. They're going to be in the top 5 pretty much all year, unless something drastic happens. But yeah, Houston, national championship expectation for sure. Definitely see them back in the Final Four again this year. And last but certainly not least, Purdue Boilermakers, Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn, veteran group. I mean, Purdue just this team's going to be tough to stop. I don't see much getting in their way unless somehow, some way, some injuries come about. But no team should really get in their way. I know college hoops is so fun because you still got to show up and play, right? You still got to show up and play. You make a few shots here and there, you get some momentum going, especially in the tournament. That's going to be that'd be the only way that I see Purdue going down. So, I mean, they return over 50% of their scoring from last year. They did lose their top 2 scorers from a year ago, but I think Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn are going to be just fine. 2 of their top-ish scorers, not the 2. Trey Kaufman-Renn was a stud for them. So we will. I don't see anybody really touching Purdue right now. So Yeah, quick little breakdown of the top 10. This is, I think it's going to be a great season. We're going to see a lot of parity. We're going to see a lot of movement in this top 10. We always do, this year especially, I believe, especially with all the big-time matchups that are on early in the year. And that's what I want to talk to you guys next, is just what I'm looking forward to the most here in week 1 of college hoops. Bang. Bang. Oh, missed it. Brutal. All right. Back talking through week 1 college matchups here. Some of these ones that I'm really excited to see. There's a lot of big time matchups, just like I was talking about earlier. A lot of big time matchups coming about for week 1, and I love it. All for scheduling the stronger conference, non-con games. I mean, it's clear that the committee is not looking at record; they're looking at strength of schedule. They want to see who you're playing. So I love these big time early season matchups. Duke did a great job of this last year, scheduling some big time opponents, and I think it really helped them in the tournament get to the Final Four where they got to. So yeah, I mean, coming up, there's some awesome matchups here. We got Arkansas versus Michigan State on Saturday. You got St. John's, Alabama, Mississippi State, Iowa State, Duke versus Army, which doesn't sound like a great one, but it's cool seeing Coach K's old squad go visit his alma mater. Texas Tech versus Illinois. That's going to be a great matchup. Creighton, Gonzaga, Kentucky, and Louisville. That's the one I've got circled. Kentucky, Louisville. A lot of recruiting news with those two squads. Pope and Pat Kelsey, going to be such a good matchup. Louisville is one of my sleeper teams. They are loaded with talent. I know they're ranked in the preseason top 25. They are a sneaky team to get to the Final Four this year. I apologize. So let's break down some of these matchups. Arkansas versus Michigan State. We'll start with them. Of course, my alma mater here, going up to East Lansing to take on Coach Izzo and the Spartans of Michigan State. Cal, though, he's got the upper hand on Izzo. 3-2 in their last 5. I'm really looking forward to the guard matchups here in this opening week barn burner. Jeremy Fears versus Jeremy Fears versus DJ Wagner. Keep thinking Jeremiah Fears. He's the younger one. Both returners, both dudes looking to take the next step. Jeremy is a Joliet, Illinois guy. I watched him in high school, and dude, I know this is way too high of praise. Remind me of Russell Westbrook. He's just explosive, just dogged you on defense, made all the right plays on offense. I think he's really he's going to be taking the next step here for Michigan State, and I'm excited to see him do that. DJ Wagner, 11 points a game last year. Didn't look crazy confident at times. One of those dudes that when he gets going, man, he's a dog. Game changer, an X factor, a guy that can lead your squad. But then, man, when he is off there, sometimes he can just take you completely out of games. Okay? I'm projecting he gets he gets all that behind him, and he turns into a rock for Coach Cal. I think he does that. He matured all last year. I think he just continues that trend, and he really becomes a leader for Coach Cal and the Hogs this year. Man, as far as prediction goes, I would love to say Arkansas as much as I want to say Arkansas here. Michigan State at home, the Izzone, they're going to be rocking. I've got to take Michigan State by about 2 points. I think they went on a late basket. St. John's versus Alabama. Patino, Nate Oates. You either love these guys or you hate these guys. I'm one of those. I love these guys. They both know ball. They've turned around programs. Both teams have Final Four potential, in my opinion. Yes, I think Alabama's got Final Four potential. X factors of these games: LeBaron Philon stepping up, and while Mark Sears is gone, I mean, Mark Sears with a 20-plus point per game. LeBaron Philon being that 2 last year, I think he needs to take a step and be the number 1. I'm really, I'm curious to see if he's wanting to do that. Him and Ryan Williams, they're kind of the faces of their sports down there in Tuscaloosa. But really, really looking forward to see what LeBaron Philon can bring to the table and what he's worked on in the offseason. So definitely my X factor for Alabama. And then for St. John's, Bryce Hopkins, he's a Providence transfer, Kentucky kid. He's from Chicago, so I know he's tough. He's a tough-nosed kid. He's my X factor for St. John's. If he's able to control the tempo and he's able to, we limit turnovers, and he's able to control the game. So really excited for that matchup. That's going to be a great one. On Saturday, Duke versus Army. I alluded to it earlier. Coach K going back to his alma mater. That's just something I'm looking forward to. Not really a big matchup, to be honest with you. I'm just looking forward to it. Texas Tech versus Illinois. Let's talk about Illinois for a second. I talked about Texas Tech a little bit, and I'll get more into the numbers as the season goes on. I just think from a numbers standpoint, they mean something, absolutely. Just teams are just so different from the year before. So I think it's hard to look at numbers right at the beginning of the season. You get a couple games underneath you, and then we'll be able to talk more into the numbers and see where teams are going to be ending up at the end of the year. So I try to stay away from the numbers a little bit in this first one and just give you thoughts on my opinions. But yeah, we'll get into more of the numbers later. But anyways, Illinois. I'm gonna be referring to these guys as the International Illini. The International Illini, baby. So many dudes from outside the states. You go out and you get kid from California. He's gonna be Stojakovic, his last name. You get him from Cal. Dad played in the NBA. You got Hummerkaus coming back. You've got the Ivisic twins, Twin Towers, Kylan Boswell. Illinois, probably a little biased towards them, but Illinois is one of those teams that you just hope that they're looking to take they can just take the next step each year, and they just can't seem to find the path to get over the hump. They're always so good in the regular season, and they just can't figure it out in the postseason. I don't know if that's an Underwood thing. I don't know if it's an Illinois thing. But I just want to see them get over the hump one time. This team's got a lot of talent. It's international. It's a different looking group. They're going to play a different style of ball, I think. And I think they're going to be a tough matchup for a lot of teams in the Big Ten. And just going the international route and bringing in some older guys while you have your core returners. They're going to be a tough out for a lot of teams in the Big Ten. Creighton Gonzaga, two great coaches there, McDermott and Mark Few. Great matchup there. Excited for both those teams. Kentucky Louisville, again, in-state rivalry being renewed. I talked about the recruitment scuffle that they had earlier this offseason. If you didn't, we'll have to dive into that at a later time. I think this is going to be a complete dogfight. Two just extremely talented teams, two heavyweights going at it for 2 halves of basketball. 40 minutes is going to be great to see. So those are some matchups that I'm really eyeballing this weekend. Really excited to see the first true test for everybody and where everybody stands after the offseason. So, yeah, now we're gonna dive right into the Big Ten. Palaka? Tough for an hour. Tough. Is she tough, boy? All right, y'all. Hey, real quick, just want to go through the Big Ten. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but I mean, obviously Purdue, the clear-cut number one in this conference. I think followed by Michigan State, Illinois, UCLA, and Michigan. Those are my top five right there. I think a lot of folks are picking Michigan to finish 2. I love Tom Izzo. I love what they did winning the regular season last year. I think again Jeremy Fears takes the next step. I'm gonna stick with Michigan State there at the 2 spot. UCLA, Donovan Dent. If Braden Smith doesn't win Big Ten Player of the Year, Donovan Dent's winning it. Dog at New Mexico, man. He was so fun to watch. He was my favorite player in the tournament. I think he can score at all 3 levels. He's got a composure and a swagger about him that I love. Donovan Dent, UCLA Bruins. Watch out for those guys. He averaged 20 a game last year, 6.5 assists. He's Corona Cali guy. He's coming back to play for the Bruins. I'm sure he grew up watching them. Hopefully it wasn't the USC Trojans. Not a big fan of that program. So yeah, Donovan Dent. I'm gonna continue to harp on him all year. So Purdue, Michigan State, UCLA, Illinois, Michigan, and then on the outside looking into that top 5, I've got Iowa. Bennett Sturts. Watched him play in the tournament. I talked about him earlier. I talked about it earlier in the show here when they played against Texas Tech. Bennett Sturts, he was the best player on the floor. By far the best player on the floor. His composure, the way he just never got sped up, shot the ball well, created for his teammates. Drake was never out of it the entire game. I mean, Texas Tech was clearly the better team, but Bennett Sturts was the best player on the floor, by far. The kid's a magician with the ball. He loves to control the pace. He's a rebounding machine. Just a warrior. He's gonna bring a spark to that Iowa program. Followed his coach there. Forget the coach's name, but followed his coach there. Iowa's on the outside looking in. Don't be surprised if they make a run in the Big Ten tournament or a run in the actual March Madness. Then I've got Ohio State, Maryland, Oregon, and Indiana. Indiana, they're rebuilding. I kind of like them. I don't know, something about that Hoosier culture getting back to me. They're hitting reset after the Mike Woodson era. I think Indiana is going to be Indiana might be a team to keep an eye out for in the Big Ten. But anyways, going through an all Big Ten team. This is going to be a real short segment. My all Big Ten team. It's Braden Smith, of course. Got to be. Donovan Dent, Bennett Sturts, Trey Kaufman-Renn from Purdue, and then Yaxel Landenberg, talked about earlier, from UAB. If he can be half of what the media is saying about him, he should be an all Big Ten first team. So that's my team there. The Big Ten's always so fun because there's 10, 11 teams that are always really good. They just beat each other up the entire time. The entire season, it's just dogfight every year. So I love watching Big Ten hoops. I think Big Ten hoops is just just a blast. It's something I've always grown up watching, and I think there's a lot of talent in that conference, especially out west. I can't stress how good Donovan Dent's gonna be. I think he's gonna be really just a stud. So really gonna drill it in your guys' heads on this one. But yeah, the Big Ten. Don't be surprised. I mean, I think they're gonna have. I think all 10 of those teams are probably tournament teams right there in the top 10. So I think Big Ten probably gets about 10 teams in the tournament. Hence, Big Ten. Need them to go back to having 10 teams in the Big Ten, not this 16 or 18 or whatever they have in there right now. So need them to get back to the Big Ten. Let's get back to that. So yeah, Big Ten breakdown there. Nothing crazy. I've already talked about a lot of these teams, so there's nothing to. Don't want to be spending too much time on this guy. So now we're gonna break down Johnny's mid-major team of the week. Coming out of the MVC, the Northern Iowa Panthers. Team made a magical run when I was growing up as a kid. So I've always got anytime I see that Northern Iowa stamp, mascot, logo, whatever, I always just picture them making a magical run in March. I think this is another year for them here too. It's a senior-led squad. Trey Campbell, Leon Bond. I think a few things to kind of watch out for with Northern Iowa throughout the rest of the year. Just seeing some consistency. I think they're going to be a very fundamentally sound team, very consistent. Their non-conference play. Want to see how they stack up to their superior opponents. I think they've. Let me get to it here, but. Yeah, Furman, going up against Furman. You got Wichita State. I mean, I think they've. Wichita State. Never mind. Cut this piece out. Stop. Delete all of this. And it's just everything you ask for in a team. You know, you stay consistent, you stick with the fundamentals, man. That's how mid majors. That's how they sneak up on these superior, more talented squads from the Power Five. They just do all the small things correctly. Set great screens, you play great defense, you rebound the basketball, you limit turnovers. That's how you win ball games. I mean. I remember Coach Anderson always harping on that. It's always about the small things. And a lot of teams, they seem to, think talent can outwork fundamentals, and that's not necessarily the case. So, Northern Iowa, yes, they made the NIT last year. They got 72% of their minutes back from last year's squad. So a lot of experience coming back for them. They're picked second in the MVC this year. They're my personal pick to take the MVC crown down in Arch Madness, baby, in St. Louis. If you ever get a chance, if anybody's in St. Louis listening to this, and you get a chance to go to Arch Madness, soak that in. It's so unique. It's such a great conference tournament, in my opinion. And you play at a neutral site field or neutral site court. All of these mid-major schools that have great fan bases. Don't get me wrong, and a lot of fans out of St. Louis for a lot of the teams. Just such a central location. It's cool, man. I just always remember going there growing up. And those are my favorite memories. We're going to Arch Madness with my buddies. Now I remember them always saying, "Hey, I got tickets to the game. You want to watch Missouri State versus Bradley?" And I'm like, "Dude, heck yeah, man. Let's go. Let's go check it out. Let's go watch Northern Iowa play Carbondale, or let's go watch Bradley play UIC." Just so good. So Arch Madness, man, it's a fun tournament. You get a chance to go check it out. So highly recommend. Yeah, they did lose two of their top scorers from last year. That's their only big bummer, right? But you return a lot of your vets. You expect a lot of them to step up, which I think they will. So that's what veterans need to do if Northern Iowa wants to have the season that I think they can have, then these dudes need to. Their seniors are gonna have to step up and make plays for them. Okay. Offensive rating from last year. I know I'm not too big on the numbers, but with a lot of experience coming back, a lot of players coming back, I mean, you can lean more on the numbers. It's just with these teams with the portal, it's hard to compare. Had an offensive rating of 111, defensive rating of 102. That's 90th and 105 in the country. When I was doing some research, I'm like, what in the world does slightly above, what in the world does 90th and 105 mean for a mid-major school that got second in the conference and made it to that got to the NIT, didn't win the conference tournament? And so it was slightly above mid-major ranks. I'm not starting to think about it. I'm like, okay, they're the top half of both categories. I think that's really good considering a lot of the spots are probably taken up by Power 5 schools, right? But you're sitting in the top half. I mean, that's pretty good considering they probably played a pretty tough schedule last year and had all of the, had a lot of things probably going against them. Probably doesn't help that you're playing Drake twice a year with Bennett Sturts. So that probably didn't help them at all. But Northern Iowa are Johnny's mid-major team of the week. We're going to continue to dive into mid-majors throughout the year, so we're all ready for March Madness, and we have a good glimpse of what these teams are all about. So, yeah, there's the mid-major team of the week. Yeah, I made some mistakes. It doesn't really matter, though. And now wrapping us up here, I'm going to walk through my bucket list. Johnny's bucket list. Just a couple things that I want to be able to accomplish with y'all. Want to be able to be consistent. Want to give you guys factual content, factual takes. Want to be able to give you guys some real life stories and experiences and share these different experiences with the world. So those are four things that I really want to hone in on, and it's my bucket list to check off as we go throughout this journey. I understand this episode probably wasn't the most perfect one, but it's a good start, and we're gonna only get better from here. So, hey, I really appreciate everybody listening. We're gonna talk through SEC and Big 12 as we go throughout this journey, and just give a quick breakdown of all of it. And yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Everybody have an awesome week. College basketball's finally here, baby. Best time of year. All right, everyone have a good one. Hey, yo.